Those of you who've been around the channel for a while know that I have held and currently hold the sentiment that combat aircraft in FS2020, FS2024, really anything Microsoft Flight Simulator related, they don't really make sense. Today's aircraft is an exception, and I'll explain why once we get going. You'll probably figure it out once you see it, but nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. Welcome to a very, very heavily populated Cessna Caravan, North Islands Naval Air Station. And welcome. I gotta get over to it. It's not that one. It's not that one. Welcome. Welcome. Well, oh, it is that one. Oh, shit. Oh, no. Welcome. Welcome. This intro is borked. This... I gotta... Well, you already see it. Welcome to the India Fox Techo Oh god, T-45. What is it? The Goshawk? What are you? T-45? Oh no! It says it on the tail. It should say it on the tail. Oh my god! A T-45. Yeah, T-45C Goshawk. This is not a new aircraft. I know, crazy, right? I late to the game on another aircraft. And I've done no flying in it. I have started it on the ramp, cold and dark, and that's it. So we are going to give this aircraft the standard sample treatment together today, looking first and foremost at the textures of the aircraft, taking a listen to the sounds of the aircraft, and finally getting it up in the air. We'll do a couple of patterns here at Naval Air Station Ocean Island, or NAS Ocean Island, or North Island, here in San Diego, and then we'll head up north to San Francisco, or maybe out to Florida, and we'll shoot some traps on the carrier. We'll be doing Case 1 recoveries because I don't want to shoot an ILS approach. But without further ado, let's begin. So the T-45 Goshawk. For those of you who don't know, this is the current naval trainer for would-be naval aviators. Anyone who wants to join the Navy as an aviator, I believe, will fly this aircraft at some point, whether you're flying an E-2D Hawkeye, a C-2 Greyhound, an F-18, an EA-18G, which is the same airframe as the F-18 for the most part. You're probably going to fly this aircraft at some point. Again, I could be mistaken, but I'm fairly certain that all aviators in the Navy will fly this aircraft first and foremost. You might notice that it says Marines on the side. I believe Marine Aviation also uses this aircraft. Yeah, see, it says Navy on one side, Marines on the other. It's an interesting aircraft. I want to say that this has taken a lot of liberty from the British Aerospace Hawk, the BAE Hawk. And I'm saying that simply because of the similarities in the airframe. The twin cockpit design with the frangible glass canopy on the top, or the frangible canopy on the top, the look of the twin engine, or the twin intakes, and the single engine exhaust, and the overall look of the airframe. I'll throw up a picture of the real-life BAE Hawk versus the T-45, and really the only difference that I notice in thinking of them, because I'm not looking at the photo right now, is obviously we've got this big robust nose gear with the twin bogies and the launch bar, and then obviously on the rear we have a tail hook. The air brake, the speed brakes, the boards, whatever you want to call them, they are slotted on the T-45, and I think they come out a little bit further than on the Hawk, but I could be mistaken about that as well. But nonetheless, let's stop speculating on differences and start looking at textures. Oh boy. So I love weathering on my aircraft, but my weathering needs to match my resolution scales. I'm recording this natively, for those of you who don't know, at 1440p. And these textures at 1440p resolution, when you're up close, don't quite cut the mustard. They might do better on a 1080p setup, but you have to come back a good little ways in order for them to come through. That navigation light looks horrendous. That's a 2D Oh, that's a 2D model splashed over that. Same thing with the formation light there. AOA vein, not AOA vein. What is that? What purpose does that serve? It's not angle of attack, because that's over here. This is our AOA sensor. No. Yeah, no, that's an AOA vein. It's just the conical type versus the vein. And then you've got your pitot tube out here in the front. I don't know what that's for, but it could use texture improvements. Decent texturing. The livery on the steps is a little lacking. And I think the reason that we're seeing kind of, I don't want to say degraded, but more legacy textures, and I think this is gonna continue on the whole aircraft. Yeah, that landing light's not looking so hot either. Is because this aircraft was originally released for Flight Simulator 2020. Yes, it's that old. It has come into compliance and readiness for 2024. That's the version that I have today, the version we're going to look at. But it looks like they didn't really do anything with touch-up and retexturing. Now, India Fox Tekka, they're a very good developer. They make aircraft like the F-35 aircraft. I think I reviewed... I know I've done it twice, maybe even 3 times on the channel because it's seen so many revamps in textures, sounds, you name it. The T-45, not so much. To me, this seems like they just kicked out the same original model from the 2020 sim. So certainly not bad textures. You know, if you take a few steps back, everything looks fine. But on a 1440p setup, definitely not winning any awards from me. But what do you think? Let's take a step inside. We'll take a quick spin around the cockpit, and then I want to disable all of those chocks and probe covers. And I'm thinking it's going to be a similar case here as well. Nothing here is super high resolution. I shouldn't say super. It's not going to be, you know, 4K ready for sure. It's, again, not even looking super sharp in 1440p. This is the default seating position at maximum allowable zoom. If you come out, things look relatively okay for the front canopy. And we'll go to the rear. Not that you would be flying from back here. This is where the instructor sits, I believe. But it's kind of a similar story. So let's go back to the front here. Let's turn on... Actually, does this get rid of my covers? No, it doesn't. So I need to go master battery on, which is down here. It's okay. That remove my covers? It did. Okay, so master battery can go back off, and we can go back. Okay, master battery can stay on, I guess. We'll leave it on for now. In fact, this will give us a chance to look at...
Power.
Can you chill? This will give us a chance to look at our... engines and a couple other pieces that were covered, as well as external lighting on the Goshawk. Similar story on the pitot tube. It's really not doing anything. There's not even a ram air hole. Lighting doesn't look much better when the aircraft is powered on. That landing light, well, it is a 2020 aircraft. That's not gonna cut the mustard for brightness for me. Although I do appreciate that the text... Oh, it's just a changed texture, but there's no cast, there's no wheel well illumination, there's no ground cast. Maybe a little bit of ground cast. It is broad daylight. Beacon's abysmal on the bottom, and we probably can't even see it. Oh, there it is on the top. I also turned on the formation lights, so there they are. Again, not looking Super great. Let's take a look up the jet pipe. Ooh. Lightened. Let's go reshade off. Yeah, it's just a black cone. Can you guys even see that? It's coming through on my screen, but it looks like it might not be on this. It's just a black circle. So, all right. So, we'll run through a startup, and then we'll take a listen to the sounds. Well, I guess we'll do a sound suite first, simultaneous with the startup. It'll give us a chance to do both. Alright, starting up the T-45 is relatively simple. Let's get up the engine page here, and we're going to go over to the left panel. We're going to put our fuel shutoff in the normal position. The ignition can go into the normal condition. On the real T-45, I believe you'd have to move this pawl out of the way and advance the throttle to the forward detent, but we don't need to do that here. All we need to do now is hit the engine start switch. But before we do that, there's a good trail off. There's no wind down sound once the engine started. So there's little tiny squeaks from the control surfaces, little clicks from some of the lighting. Nothing incredibly good to write home about, but little clicks, we'll take them. All right, engine starting. So, not the best. So I like the individual samples, but they're not blended well together. What do I mean by that? The move from initial windup of the starter to the ignition point, there's no transition. It just cuts to the different sample, and that's very evident. And then once the engine self-sustains, again, that's a really hard cut. I also don't like how there's no fade when you open and close the canopy. Don't like that. So, I mean, obviously, when you're moving this handle back, you wouldn't get instantaneous noise like that, right? It would fade, it would swell. You'd get more noise as the canopy gets more open, right? Everyone knows that. Being a little bit nitpicky here, but we do have some really, really good aircraft in the flight sim lineup. So I think that gives me a little bit of props to do that. And we're gonna look at one of those aircraft here very soon. Obviously not in this video, but in the next one, if you're good. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna look at it anyway. I already have it. So, that is most of startup done. We'll do a ADI there, and we'll do an HSI there. That should be it. Turn on our OBOGs, onboard oxygen generation system. Nothing I can do with the actual suit lines. What does this do? What do you do? I feel like I shouldn't twiddle that. Okay, maybe I should. We're gonna hit that. Is that the hydraulics? Nope. So I'm still deficient in hydraulic power. Test, warning, caution, dim bright. ICS. Ooh. And I need my FCS as well. Anti-skid can go on. Well, I'll figure this out in my own time, and I'll be back once I do. So I looked around for a little bit. I couldn't find the means for getting rid of those messages, but I do have hydraulic power. I'm able to actuate my control surfaces. I'm able to move my flaps, which I believe are hydraulic. They could be electric. I don't know. But more importantly, we've got some armament. We've got some hydro rockets, as well as a little travel pod underneath there for our cargo. So let's go ahead and taxi up the T-45 here.
On the ejection seat.
Roger that. Where'd you come from, Jester? Seats armed. And nose wheel steering gain is set to high, so we should have a good, sharp turning radius. Which we do. And I'm going to find my way out to an active runway, and we'll be set to take off here in just a second. Alright, we're entering the threshold for runway 2917. Interesting runway vector there. I guess 1028 or 9027 was too much for them to adhere to. Maybe that's just how the winds roll, those couple of degrees off. Nonetheless, it's not going to stop us from getting T-45 in the air today. Let's run up our engines. Engine, singular. And off brakes. Alright, airspeed is alive. There's the needle as well, in the lower left. My panel, there's 100 knots. Already through 80. Copy that, Jester. Let's go fly. I'm already hearing those default flight sim gear sounds, brother. We're already gear up. All right, let's pull it back. Start climbing here. Not gonna get the best performance since we do all have all that weight on board, but we're still rocking it out of here. If this was a 172, you'd be amazed.
2000.
Copy that. There's that wonderful flight sim ship traffic doing its thing again. We only have 1,000 pounds of fuel. Should probably do something about that. I'll do it in a different video, but I have a huge complaint about the ship traffic in Flight Simulator 2024. Specifically in the Great Lakes region, but we'll talk about that in a different video. Today we're here to talk about the T-45 and how she handles. I like the mirrors. I don't think they're actually reflective. It's like if I nose over, gain a little bit of airspeed here, and then we pitch up, I should start to see ground in a second. Do I see ground? No, and we're over the top here. So I am correct, there's no reflections on the mirrors, but hey, you know, they put them there. They could have not done that.
$6,000.
Copy, 6K. Let's set up for some CCIP rocketry. We'll use this little, seemingly, hopefully, abandoned island to our right. I actually don't know how to shoot in this. I mean, it's this button, but I don't think I have that button bound to anything in Flight Simulator.
Fuel 1100.
1,100. Burned through 100 pounds of fuel already. So, I can't for the life of me figure out where these controls to release the weapons would be. I have tried. Fire. That's firefighting mission, okay. Weapon. Nothing. The release. Rocket. Just for fun, let's try rifle. No. Pickle? Yeah, so I have no idea. So as far as I can tell, there's no way to employ munitions, which would line up with the kind of flight simulator standard, and why I say largely military aircraft don't make sense in the sim. There's no realistic employment of weapons. If anything, it's going to be in effects, like on the Jaguar, which I think is an Azure Poly product. They have modeled munitions, but you're not going to blow anything up. There's no air-to-air combat. There's no air-to-ground combat. So that's I don't know, just another thing to be warned on. So you can put rockets on, but much like the F-35, you can only arm the aircraft. You can't actually employ them unless someone wants to make a third-party mod that gives you the effect of firing a weapon. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and turn the T-45 in for landing. Ooh, look. That's the Texas variant Southwest 737 down there. Is that Lone Star 1, I think? They have kind of silly names for all of their aircraft, like Maryland 1, Lone Star 1. Alright, let's go speed brakes out. Let's go gear down.
3,000.
3,000. Flaps to mid. Let's turn the master arm off. We got a tactical approach. Yeah, is it? Thanks. Thanks, Jester. Now, unlike in DCS and the F-14, you can't eject me. So, haha. Just gonna have to hope that I land good.
That was a good one.
Thank you. Alright, let's go, find ourselves... Oh, let's track the center line. And then, let's go find ourselves a carrier to do some, traps and launches. Again, we're sticking with Category 1. I can't be bothered with any ILS stuff, so I'll see you guys over there. So, I went to set up for a hot launch from the India Fox Techo carrier. You know the additional add-on that they'll sell you. And this is how I launched in. So I guess I can't do a hot start because it thinks we're in the air. We're clearly not. So I guess I'll start over there, manually start the aircraft, and then we'll taxi over to here now. But, you know, no hot starts in the India Fox Techo aircraft on India Fox Techo carriers. That's alright. So another just quick fun fact, I, being the lazy person that I am, did a auto start, and it did not solve my hydraulic issue. In addition to that, it didn't turn on my generator. I did that manually. It did not turn on the O-Bogs. I did that manually. And it did not turn on the HUD, which you just saw me do at the start of here, manually. But that's okay. We are now set to taxi. We're actually, I guess, yeah, we can, yeah, we got the steering circle for this. Ooh. Let's get rid of that. And we'll turn out on this cat. So no animations like in DCS world. And that's okay. Power on. Quick sweep of the controls.
There's 100.
And we're airborne. Oh, I'm gonna need you to shut up. I'm gonna need you to stop that right now.
Sky condition clear. Temperature.
Yeah, shut up. So, airborne in the T-45, it is compatible, partially, with the India Fox Techo carriers, at least from the launching phase, although I wonder if any aircraft with the launch bar option is capable of launching off the carrier. Unless we'll get one pass in, and then we'll set up for a case 1 recovery. I definitely could do without the jester voice in the back. Like the G breathing. That's the India Fox Techo standard. As far as vapor effects, I don't think the T-45 can really generate enough G to really do heavy vapor effects like what you'd see on the F-35 or something like that. But we can probably get some wingtip vortices going here. Let's get some velocity under our wings. We're at 200 knots now. Start pointing the nose back down. $300, 340, there's 350. We should be able to get some vortices. Nope. No overwing effects either. What a shame. Alright, board's out. Can we save this? I'm gonna go with no.
Take rate's too high.
Yeah, it's a bolter. Really long time to spool for the engines. Do a single orbit and we'll vector out a little bit further this time. Actually set up for a proper recovery. So we extended a little bit. We're still high. A little bit fast. Come right just a little bit. We'll be ready on the engine. It's a really slow to spool engine on the T-45. So we're really going to have to hammer the throttle forward. This is definitely not the way you should be doing an approach. Speed brakes in, throttle up. And we trapped. No wire model, but that was more than likely a 4-wire. So, even with the sloppiest of sloppy flying, you can trap the T-45 relatively easily. That would make sense, it being a trainer. And I think that's going to be it. So, I'm conflicted because I personally love the T-45 as the aircraft in real life. As far as this model goes, I think it needs a refresh to be 2024 ready. I say that with love, and knowing that India Fox Techo is a great developer. They made the carrier we're taxing on, they made the F-35 that I dearly love, the M346 trainer aircraft for other foreign nations that I also very much so like. That aircraft has overwing effects, your wingtip vortices, and your high. Oh wow! Look at our turn radius versus our nose wheel actuation. Yeah, this aircraft needs a fresh coat of paint, and just to be modernized. I need to have a modeled exhaust for the engine. Just having that blank hole there, super not kosher. And yeah, fix the nose wheel, bring the textures into 2024 standards, and she'll be good to go. But that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I do dearly appreciate it while I struggle to get lined up here on the launch bar, or on the cat. And I will see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, take it easy.